Everybody, welcome to Hit Rewind. I'm Michael and Jacob's on the other side.
Hello, everybody.
We are in 1997. Yes, I know we said we're going to go through the 60s and 70s, but frankly, I said I can't take any more Westerns and war movies, and so we decided to take a pause and go back to the course that we were on last year. It is kind of nice watching movies that I've already seen, I know are going to be good or worth discussing, instead of this fishing hunt that I seem to be doing with all these old movies, because most of them I've never seen before. I'm like, so I have to pre-screen them. It takes forever.
I know it's like so many of the movies, like, regarding certain comedies and stuff, it was really starting to dry up.
Yeah.
I was like, dang it. There's just, again, yeah, it's oversaturated with war movies and Westerns.
Yeah, once we get in the 70s, it's going to kind of flip and go other direction. But let's talk about 1997. We picked 5 movies for this episode. What is the first one we're going to start off with?
Okay, I want to get this one out of the way because it was the last one I watched, but my God, is it so good. Breakdown with Kurt Russell. He happens to be one of my favorite action stars.
Yeah.
And
he's a definite top 5 actor for me.
Oh, absolutely. This movie from beginning to end, yeah, no, there's pretty good build up. You're getting to know the characters a bit. They're just on a road trip in Massachusetts. Some of the people driving by kind of give them shit. So it's like, yeah, no, sundown towns are something to be afraid of. That's also a real life thing.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. But man, as soon as he's like, looking for his wife, he's panicked, just wondering what to do. And he knows he's not crazy. But at the same time, like, Kurt Russell's kind of like out of his element. He's not playing someone who's like kind of experienced and a badass. He's just like a regular guy, just trying to, get to his new home with his wife. Just a simple family man.
Yep. Yeah, they're doing a cross-country thing for a new job. So, they have very little actual, like, stuff in their car. You know what I mean? Like, they're not traveling heavy. So it's not like this look like they're being taken advantage of for their stuff. I'm not exactly 100% certain what their goal is. That isn't really explained. It's a kidnapping movie. And basically, he mentions that the plan was to get both of them in the vehicle so they could kill them, I guess. Steal their vehicle and then sell it on the black market? I don't know. But everything goes wrong when he decides to stay behind.
Right. Well, the plot of it was to, like, extract them for their money and then to kill them and dump them.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Because he had a whole bunch of money and they assumed that they could just give that to him. Not the car, it's the money they had in savings. It says it's not a remake, but it is almost 100% a remake. 2 years ago, Gerard Butler starred in a movie called Last Seen Alive, which is almost the same exact plot, except it doesn't have any of the kick-ass action in this. Breakdown is an homage of sorts to Steven Spielberg's Duel. It feels a little bit like that. It feels like a throwback to 70s action movies.
Yeah, somewhat. Nothing too over the top, just like kind of direct, a little more grounded. And each scene, though, Kurt Russell does carry his own, and he is not putting up shit with anybody.
Yeah.
He knows what's going on.
I was torn while watching this. I was actually questioning, is this his best performance?
It's definitely one of his top performances. I will give him that. That's for sure.
There's a weird period where we accepted that Kurt Russell could be scared. It started with Unlawful Entry in 92, and then Executive Decision, which was the year before this, and Breakdown. And after that, it kind of just goes away, but I kind of like the everyman quality. He doesn't look like he can kick. It's not playing like his normal stuff where, between like Backdraft and this, there's a lot of action stuff where he's a tough guy. There's Stargate, there's Tombstone, Escape from LA, the movies where he can really handle himself. But then there's the smattering of like guys who are out of their element. I deeply appreciate his performance in this. But he seems truly scared, fried mentally from the mystery, the frustration that's going on. I just thought it was really good. And I love Kathleen Quinlan, who plays his wife. She doesn't get a lot of credit for the good work that she's done over the 80s and 90s.
Oh, no, absolutely. And as far as the supporting role, yeah. You love seeing her little chemistry, especially like when the car breaks down, thanks to MC Gainey's character.
Yeah.
Fucker. Oh, gosh. Oh, the things that happen, there are moments where I'm just like, good. No, I'm glad that happened. That guy.
It's funny. On paper, though, it doesn't seem like this would be a Kurt Russell movie because he's red hot at this time. And this almost seems like a more of a B movie that maybe Patrick Swayze would have been in or something like that. But having him in it and the direction of Jonathan Mostow, who is making his first theatrical film of his career. He did a couple of smaller TV movies for Showtime. But Jonathan Mostow, I thought, was going to be a big fucking deal for a long time. But it went Breakdown, U-571, Terminator 3. Then there's a long gap because he almost did Hancock, quit, and then he went and did The Surrogates with Bruce Willis, and that was pretty much it. I expected some big, great movie out of him every 2 or 3 years, and it just didn't happen.
Oh, that's a damn shame. I mean, I don't know. Personally, I never would. Terminator 3 didn't really do it for me.
No, but I think it's well made, and it's a huge movie for him.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, no, Surrogates though, that was like an interesting concept, and I thought he delivered that pretty well.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so he wrote and directed this as his first theatrical feature. This didn't do that well, but it also wasn't very expensive. It's very lean and mean, no CGI, all practical effects. That fucking semi running through the trailer is dynamite. That looks so like they just tore it to shreds and almost killed the actors doing it.
Oh God, no, frick! Again, it was pulse pounding, especially because J.T. Walsh was flashing.
Thank you. For some reason, my brain stopped. I couldn't remember J.T. Walsh's. J.T. Walsh died a couple years after this came out. Actually, no, I think he died the year this came out, but he had already shot Pleasantville, where he plays the judge. And he was always a guy that was just skeevy, always up to no good, just a really great heel in cinema. And he wasn't around very long, it seems. Like, I only remember, like, maybe his first, I think he was in Red Rock West, I think was his first thing. And then he did Needful Things. And that's when people kind of like, he was on their radar now.
Yeah, and he also did, I think he was in Good Morning Vietnam as well.
Oh, you are right. That was way before those movies. I'm sorry.
And
is he? I haven't seen a few in a long time. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think Jack Nicholson said something about him when he did pass away, and oh gosh, I'm trying to remember what exactly he said, but I know it was like a nice tribute to him. He said he was like one of the best actors to work with.
Yeah, you know what the irony is that we were gonna go see this movie and we got in a car accident on the way to it.
He did it? Oh shit, really?
Yeah, it ripped the front of the Mustang off, put us in the hospital, and Mom's head went through the window. Yeah, it sucked.
Oh my God, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was 97, so you know it was bridge over the water, you know, whatever, or what do we call it? Bridge over troubled water. I don't know. I'm talking about. I'm tired. I just got off work.
But yeah, but this one with Jack Nicholson, he dedicated his Best Actor award from As Good as It Gets to J.T. Walsh.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So he was dead before Pleasantville. I was just making sure. What is the next film on our list?
Next film is, oh gosh, freaking Con Air. This definitely, to me, it screams Michael Bay, but it's not Michael Bay.
I know, it's faux Michael Bay. And there's guys that did this. Dominic Sena. Oh, the guy that did the Expendables, and Simon West, who I believe directed this one. Those guys are always like Michael Bay light. But for me, Michael Bay is also Tony Scott light. You know, they're just like, they're acolytes of that style.
True, except, you know, Tony Scott uses quality ingredients. You know, Michael Bay, oh God, he's fast food.
Yeah.
He's heavy on fast food.
Well, then, okay, well, let's say then Michael Bay is like higher end fast food, like the $7 burger, whereas Simon West and Dominic Sena are like the guys that did shopping off the dollar menu at Burger King. Yeah, somehow this works. No, this is highly entertaining trash. It is. And when someone told me it was their favorite movie, I was like, you know what? I can't judge it because it's fucking entertaining as shit.
Absolutely, from start.
Yeah, it is popcorn all the way. There's nothing really high brow about it. It's boiled down the Michael Bay, Jerry Bruckheimer formula by this point, where you spend the money filling it to the gills with really great character actors. So you remember all those kind of, I mean, anybody else, it would have been throwaway characters for the most part, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Because most movies would do this. Nicolas Cage, John Cusack, John Malkovich, fuck the rst, you know, like just, you wouldn't care at all. But you're talking like ringers here. Colm Meaney, Ving Rhames, McKelty Williamson, Rachel Ticotin, Nick, damn it, he was one of the bad guys in that terrible Mr. Magoo movie. You got Chappelle, you got Monica Potter. I really thought Monica Potter was going to be the next, like, Julia Roberts. And I think the problem is that she was just sold as Julia Roberts. So she would get like, oh, Julia Roberts turned this out. Okay, let's offer it to Meg Ryan. Okay, let's offer it to this person. And like the fifth person down is Monica Potter.
It's a damn shame.
Yeah. MC Gainey again. 2 movies, a double feature.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he played his character's name was Swamp Thing.
Yeah. We knew a guy named Swamp Thing because he had disgusting, smelly ass feet.
Oh,
I was going to say, and Danny Trejo. I think this is kind of when people really noticed Danny Trejo. He had been working in action movies for a decade by this point, but this is the first time we're like, really connecting to this guy might be something, like more of, instead of like, the 12th person on the list, he might move up to something. And then look, what, 10 years later, we got Machete.
yeah.
This thing is so loaded to the gills with one-liners. Put down the money. Well, you know what I am? Ugly all day long. Cyrus,
all the little snappy comeback thing.
Cyrus, the motherfucking virus.
Oh no, Cole Meany though, giving John Cusack so much shit because John Cusack's, trying to run things his way as far as like transporting criminals, through, oh gosh, what's the right word I'm looking for?
What?
Not aeronautics, you know, transportation through, airplane
Uh-huh.
rather than train or bus.
Right.
So yeah, no, and then Cole Meany's just like kind of like going against that, and everything he gets in, every one of his plans or his suggestions ends up backfiring to the point where he actually listens to John Cusack where they're trying to shoot the plane down with helicopters.
Oh, yeah. This is Cusack's big comeback year. He does this, and then I think 2 months prior, he had Gross Point Blank. He had kind of faded away for a while there, and you kind of thought his career was over with. And this is just like really kicked, like, so Gross Point Blank is where all the cool people saw him, and then like all the mainstream audience people saw him in this. So that really cemented his career for like the next 15 years.
Oh, absolutely. Gosh, no. I think you were the one who told me this little trivia fact about Danny Trejo, like being afraid of John Cusack.
Oh, yeah.
Of a particular martial arts style.
Yeah, he said he had a particular look in his eyes that scared him. The one thing I don't like about this movie is they could have killed John Malkovich like 5 times before they actually kill him. I mean, just the first thing, going through the bridge, dead. That would have been a great ending. Then, oh no, you're going to go through this, and then you're this, and then all of a sudden you end up like in some sort of fucking cement crushing machine that smashes your skull. That's too much.
Absolutely. I know. Like, yeah, he should have been done a long time ago. Oh, it's like, why? Oh, yeah, and then who else you got? Oh, gosh, you also had Bing Rames, who was in this as well, who's pretty much Cyrus's right-hand man.
Diamond Dog. Steve Buscemi almost steals the entire movie.
Oh, my God, yes. Steve Buscemi, seriously. Especially the premise around him, like, again, he has to be, contained and bound at all times, so he doesn't, like, kill everybody else. But it's like, he's one of the most calm people there. Even with all the like, bullets being shot at him, he's just like, oh.
What is it? He says that he killed a woman and wore her face as a hat all the way to Vegas or something insane like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally, exactly. Yeah. So he was truly insane, but it's like, he wasn't just like so manic. Like he needs to have some kind of purpose in order to kill somebody or something personal.
I can see that. I remember they were saying that they should do a sequel to this. I'm just trying to figure out how you could get Nicolas Cage into this situation again. It's like the way you had to force John McClane back into an airport, with a terrorist situation. It's pretty heavy-handed to try to get there, but you could do another Con Air where it's just a whole different cast. Or just remake the thing. Yeah. There was it's a successful pop culture movie when there's a direct-to-video ripoff right around the same time called The Bad Pack with Roddy Piper.
Although, rest in peace, I do love Roddy Piper.
Yeah. He, I mean, They Live really is his only good movie, but still, he's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Oh, but still, I still can't get over that, again, that scene where he just said, I'll say it.
All right, what is the next film?
Next movie, Nicolas Cage, John Travolta, in Face Off. Oh my God, seriously, it is a John Woo film, but there's a lot more going on than just, your typical over-the-top action, slow-mo, gun-toting action movie.
Yeah. Well, he was really trying to do something else, I think, with his American films. His stuff was always like a ballet of disasters, but at the same time, he was always trying to infuse it with some sort of thought and emotion.
I think it played off really well in this one. I mean, the way it starts off, John Travolta at a park with this kid, high-profile FBI agent, and Nicolas Cage is like a deadly assassin for hire, and he's going out to take John Travolta. John Travolta survives, but in doing so, ends up killing John Travolta's son. The bullet pierces through him. Yeah, this is the opening scene. Bullet pierces through him and kills his son while he's holding him on the carousel, and John Travolta just breaks immediately.
The film is completely and absolutely absurd. You have to get on that train and just ride it because, look, flat out, there's no way that you can make Nicolas Cage's face and John Travolta's face fit. They have completely different bone structure. You're sucking out the fat. Here's the crazy thing is when they go back and they put the fat back in John Travolta's body. Why? Why? Don't do that. You would think of like, oh, I got these killer abs now. Fuck it. I'm just going to go back to the way I was before. This was produced by Michael Douglas, I believe, and he was originally going to be in it. They threw around a lot of other actors that they were offering to, and they turned it down. Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger, it just couldn't get it to work. Michael Douglas and Harrison Ford. Then it was going to be Alec Baldwin and Bruce Willis. Oddly enough, the next year, Alec Baldwin and Bruce Willis do an action movie or thriller together called Mercury Rising. But then it ended up the way it is. Johnny Depp almost got the role that John Travolta got. But, I think it helps that John Travolta had just got done working with John Woo on Broken Arrow, so they built that relationship. And Nicolas Cage always seems like he's game for any like cool director or cool crazy plot. Do you feel like this is the first time that people really noticed that Nicolas Cage can give a crazy fucking performance? Like they talked about it?
Oh, gosh, if you didn't see Vampire's Kiss, then yeah.
Yeah, most people didn't. That movie only made like $1 million, whereas this was a massive phenomenon and people really started talking about it. And this feels like also like one of the last times you see Nicolas Cage without a toupee. It's very, very short and thin and whatever on top of that. After that, it seems like it's, and same thing for Travolta. I feel like both start wearing toupees after this.
Pretty much, yeah, no, they started to age and it showed. I mean, but again, Nicolas Cage has always had like not a 4-head or a 5-head, but a 6-head.
Yeah. Director Adam Wingard, who just got done doing the Kong versus Godzilla movies, or what do you want to call them, said that he is very open to directing a sequel, but he'll only do it if he can get those guys back. And I'm like, are you going to clone Nicolas Cage? And he's like, no, he didn't die at the end. I'm like, are you sure? Well, he does just impale him in the chest, right? With the crossbow or whatever that was. The harpoons. Yeah. I remember seeing Alessandro Nivola in this movie as his brother. So it's Castor and Pollux Troy, right? And I, for some reason, I knew there was something special about Alessandro Nivola, and yet never really has broken out because he prefers to do independent movies and doesn't want to be a star. But I think he's a phenomenal actor. He's absolutely amazing in Jurassic Park 3.
Oh, that's right. He was Alan Grant's assistant.
Yeah. I think he's really good in that movie. And he's in something new I saw, some new series that looked good. But Face Off has everything you've ever wanted. It's kind of the pinnacle of the cliches of John Woo. Doves, back-to-back shooting, sliding around, two guns blazing, that kind of stuff. Lots of slow-mo. It's kind of the pinnacle for him as a... Look, I don't like Mission Impossible 2. It doesn't even feel like a John Woo film. It feels like a movie that they just forced him to direct the way they wanted him to direct, just with his style. Does that make any sense? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. I mean, look what happened with the original concept for Ant. I mean,
yeah.
Edgar Wright. But Edgar Wright wanted to make his film.
Yeah, so it feels like that, like he was just a gun for hire instead of really flowing with the whole thing. And of course, Nicolas Cage and Woo team up again one more time with Wind Talkers, a horribly underrated World War II movie I absolutely adore.
No, same. Oh god, that definitely makes a lot of sense. That some of the slow-mo and stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely seems like John Woo.
Well, in the battle and action sequences. What is our next film?
I do have to say one more thing about Face Off. That scene where Cage freaking takes drugs and he has that creepy expression on his face because he's so freaking tweaked out.
I could eat a peach all day. Or I love the thing. Oh, hold on a
Page
second.
for hours.
I know someone says talks about it now, but at the time I thought it was fucking insane that they would put their hands over each other's faces as some sort of sign of affection. If a family member came up to me and put their fucking fingers in my eyeballs and nose area, I'd be like, "What are you doing, you psycho?"
Like, stop it. Like, weirdo.
Yeah, get that
Actually,
away from me.
I
Yeah.
want to bite him, especially if I was a small child. I'd be like, But next one. Oh, God. This was like a huge staple for Warner Brothers and like one of the most talked about movies that year. I couldn't stop seeing stuff about it on HBO. LA Confidential. It's easily one of my favorite noir films.
Yeah, it is. It is the best picture winner and won other awards. And here's the thing, though. They spent so much money promoting it and hyping it that they made no money. I think it only made like $33 million, but it costs like $30 million. And then they spent another 25, 30 million just trying to hype it for the awards. And so it was never, I don't know if it's ever been profitable, but I do believe it is the greatest film ever made. I may have not seen it as much as I've seen some really fucking stupid movies like Biodome. Because I think I've only seen LA Confidential. This time was maybe the 5th time I've seen it, but I've seen Biodome probably 15 times. So look, I don't know. This movie is very hard and cryptic to get into. If it's anything, it's Chinatown for our generation.
Oh, pretty much, yeah. And it doesn't hold back on just how, you know, shitty even all the protagonists are. There's always some degree of it.
Yeah, except Guy Pearce, for the most part, except for he does do a thing where he shouldn't sleep with somebody.
Oh, yeah, no. But, I mean, Kim Basinger and her performance, oh la la.
And she won the Oscar for it. Best Supporting Actress. What do you...
I mean, there was a lot of depths of her. There was more than her just being like a high-class escort.
Right. So it is a 1950s, I think it's very early 50s or late 40s. There was a movie that gave it away. I can't remember what it was. It told me the year. But it's post World War II kind of era, Los Angeles.
Yeah, post Mickey Cohen.
Right. And you know what really goes well with this is Gangster Squad, because it kind of goes at the same time. So the first 20 minutes or so, half hour, is the end of Mickey Cohen, who was the main gangster in Los Angeles. Gangster Squad with Josh Brolin, Sean Penn, and Ryan Gosling really covers what took him down. And this one, it's about corruption in the police force and this really intricate web. It does not spell everything out for you. You really need to pay attention to the details because it's not going to hold your hand. It's going to drop bits and pieces, but some of those bits and pieces are MacGuffins. And it's not going the way you think it's going. Like there's a whole thing with the shooting in the diner, and it goes to the kids that they think were guilty of it, and it leads you in that direction. But it turns out that was all a bluff. And there's other thing on top of other thing. It's layer upon layers. They're trying to crack this mystery. You're going to spend a good 75% of this movie going, what the fuck is going on though? Like it takes a while for it all to come together.
Yeah, you would have to remember specifically, like at the beginning, just after Russell Crowe and his partner go to get booze from a liquor store, and then he, of course, goes after this old guy, clearly says his name because he has his ID.
Yeah.
And that was like a connecting piece to like what goes on to this bigger plot.
Right.
And James, okay, and then of course it all leads back to James Cromwell gives a great performance. I never get disappointed with him. And yeah, just like a lot of great character depth, feeding you little by little, kind of leave you wanting more, and then just like giving you everything, answering everything right near the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And Danny DeVito, great supporting actor for Kevin Spacey's character.
Yeah, it's the thing about this movie is amazing that a studio would back a fairly expensive period piece with no stars that as the main characters. So they had to surround the movie with really well-known supporting cast. They pivot from Kevin Spacey being the star in the first half hour to moving quickly over to Russell Crowe and Guy Pearce. And that was a smart thing to do. Usually movies like this, it's really hard to launch and get a budget for if you don't have names attached. And so, yeah, we have Kevin Spacey, James Cromwell. All these guys aren't really that hot now, but at the time they were. Danny DeVito, Kim Basinger. I feel like there's someone else in here that was really well known.
Like the character Pierce Patchett. I can't remember his name either.
But and then
he's in a league of their own.
Yeah. David Strathairn. Is that who you're talking about? He's the pimp.
I believe so. Yes, that's him.
I mostly know him from David Mamet and John Sayles kind of stuff. Like he's in 8 Men Out. And well, he was in River Wild with Curtis Hanson, the director of LA Confidential, right before this.
Oh, that's right. Oh, he was. Oh shit! I'm trying to remember.
He's Meryl Streep's husband.
Yes. God,
Yeah, I just think it's truly a labyrinth mystery that once everything is revealed, and it has one of the greatest showdowns. I mean, just it's like a Western that they're out in the middle of the desert, you know, and they're surrounded by the bad guys and they have one outpost, you know, it's like a Howard Hawks ending. And instantly you realize Guy Pearce and Russell Crowe are fucking stars. Now, Russell Crowe broke out almost immediately, and Guy Pearce has always done well for himself, but I don't think he's ever become the A-lister that he should have been.
No, absolutely, because I think one of the last things I did see, I mean, there was that one escape movie where he has to...
Lockout.
Pretty much the same. Yeah, there was that. And then he also had a part in Prometheus. He played...
Yeah, well, he did that, those 2 movies, and he was the bad guy in Iron Man 3, really close. That kind of saved his career because it was kind of faltering. But now he's starting to do kind of direct-to-video stuff. But so is Russell Crowe. When did Russell Crowe go from being the greatest actor of all time, of our generation, whatever, A-lister, to being like the king of the B movies? What the fuck is that?
Well, I know he did have a temper, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And not to mention, I think, as far as it goes, he hasn't really been in too much A-list stuff. I did like The Nice Guys.
Yeah. The Nice Guys kind of like the end of that era. Now he's doing like the Man with the Iron Fists, and then the Pope's Exorcism. What's that one where it's called Unhinged, I think, where he's a truck driver running people over? It was horrifying. But that's that guy. That's the kind of stuff that he does now. But like I said, I truly believe it is the greatest movie I've ever seen.
It is. It's definitely easily one of my top favorite films. I love it from beginning to end. And it, again, when it's so well paced and that long, it really does suck you in. So it makes it a great movie as well.
Not only is Curtis Hanson a visionary, holy fucking shit, Luc Besson at his peak powers. I don't know if he's done anything that's been so uniquely European. You know what I mean? Like, there's Valerian that he did a few years ago. That's probably the closest thing. But most of his stuff is pretty much straightforward action films with kind of a little bit of style and attitude to it. But Fifth Element, there is nothing like this. It's the closest thing I could think of to a live action heavy metal movie without the nudity.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a little bit of nudity here and there, but, it's all kind of like blurred out and just like...
Yeah. But not like the heavy metal cartoon, which I feel like it takes some inspiration from the cabbie segment of heavy metal.
Yeah, it definitely takes a little bit of that. And, of course, like, some of these French comic books, the ones that created Valerian.
Yeah. Well, and the guy who created Valerian and the artist Mobius are the guys who designed everything for this film.
Yes. If I remember correctly, that's what I saw in the special features.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, as a kid in 97, I would look forward to this whenever it was on. I loved it that much. I wanted to watch it from beginning to end. I don't care what part it was at. I wanted to watch it.
Yeah, we saw it in theaters. It's on the big screen. It's like nothing you've ever seen. And here's the funny, sci-fi for the longest time was now drowning in that post Blade Runner, dark, muted noir look, almost apocalyptic. Whereas, well, I mean, Judge Dredd kind of did it first because there's a lot of that kind of imagery there. But man, Fifth Element is something else. It's got Asian influences. It's bright. It's boisterous. It's funny. It's action-packed. The special effects, digital, and makeup are astounding.
Seriously, it's like from beginning to end, like it is very immersive. Like to where you are. Like you see these particular aliens, they're warrior race. You see like this one squid lady, Diva, has beautiful singing voice. And then you got also like even the style and the clothing, like Gary Oldman, whole another world. That whole little visor thing over like his head with that particular haircut.
Yeah, he says that he doesn't like doing that. He feels embarrassed by the performance, and he only did it as a favor because Luc Besson produced his first movie. And I'm like, dude, people love this performance. Maybe you should just let that ride.
For real? No, I mean, I couldn't see a problem with it. Like he was one of the most memorable villains.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, all the main actors, they only had like one scene together, and it was, him trying to get onto the exploding cruise ship while everybody else is trying to leave and evacuate.
Yeah.
That's the only time. Yeah, it's the only time they cross paths.
I still find it jarring every time I watch this that Luke Perry's in the beginning. Like, oh, you're just in this for 5 minutes. That's so strange.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure what it could have been. I mean, were they going to make it, as far as the synopsis goes, were they originally going to make it more about Luke Perry's character?
I have no idea. But yeah, it goes in a totally different direction. You know, and we jump to the future and the creatures they create, the mythology they create, it's very fascinating. I will say this though, a fan favorite character of this movie, I fucking hate. I cannot stand even 1 second of Chris Tucker in this movie.
Damn, that's where we respectfully differ.
No, everybody loves Chris Tucker in this movie. I cannot do it.
Like I said, he does have that attitude where you just want to punch him in the face, as you see it through Bruce Willis's character.
Yeah. Well, he's playing. Chris Tucker said he was trying to play him like Prince. You know, very effeminate, but at the same time a sexual creature. He not necessarily bisexual, but just something about him, like he tapped into his feminine side, which well, back then we really didn't have anything like that, but it is a unique take, and I do love that fucking hairdo. It's so strange. It looks like something it looks like the hair that Egon had in the Ghostbusters cartoon. Yeah, it's a very strange world where a lot of guys, I mean, that one guy, the boxer or whatever, was in a dress. It's a very interesting future, and I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if, 1,000 years from now, that's what world looks like. Mega cities where we're all flying around traffic, everything's bright and boisterous and wild, and everybody's compressed into tiny, tiny little apartments that are the size of my bedroom.
Yeah, no, I mean, at least affordable, especially because they have the little pull-out beds.
Yeah.
They could just off.
Is it bizarre that they cast Tiny Zeus Lister as the president? It's such a strange thing.
Yeah, no, definitely something out of the norm.
Yeah.
I do want to say this since you mentioned it, Chris Tucker prefacing his performance on Prince. In fact, that role was originally offered to Prince and Lenny Kravitz.
Huh.
But I guess it was like something that they declined. Well, he ended up declining, which was definitely favorable for Chris Tucker.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you look at the wardrobe, I'm like, this is something Prince would wear.
Well, I mean, look, and Mia Jovovich becomes a star after this. Not like a huge star, but she gets Joan of Arc, and then it's Resident Evil, which is what finally okay, now people are going to cast her as an action star. She's one of the very first, almost everything she does is an action star.
Yeah, no, she is pretty badass. I was like, there's some moments like, I don't know, the latest Hellboy movie, I felt like she kind of phoned it in. But I felt like every other performance, like the Joan of Arc performance, she was actually putting in effort and trying.
Yeah, she does one with.
And when she tries, she's actually really good.
Yeah, she's in one with Pierce Brosnan. I cannot remember the name of it, but she's set up. She's like a UN embassy employee. They blow the place up and set her up as the person who did it, and then she's on the run, and Pierce Brosnan is the assassin trying to kill her before she can tell her story. What the fuck is that called, man?
Sounds awfully familiar. Not the Thomas Crown Affair, but...
No. I'll look her up.
Yeah, but again, from beginning to end, this movie just has, a little bit of everything. There's comedy, has action, or no, even the cutting is very unique.
Yeah, well,
you have one character in a completely different scene with a completely different situation, and then it cuts to someone else pretty much answering that question, but again, changing the situation. Gary Oldman's on the phone talking to his assistant for failing. Yeah.
So the movie is called Survivor, and it's directed by James McTeague, who did V for Vendetta. But sadly, even with all the names behind it, it still went straight to video in America. Yeah, lame.
That is a damn disappointment. It's like, that would have made money. That would have gotten attention. But, yeah, as I was saying, it cuts off with Gary Oldman saying, "Are you making fun of me?" And then it cuts to Chris Tucker going, "No, swear." I love that. That's something that Luc Besson does that nobody else does, I feel.
Yeah, Luc Besson has a very interesting career where he's only dabbled a little bit in sci-fi, but it's usually the most successful for him because Lucy did very, very well. I think that's his biggest hit. But I kind of like his lean and mean stuff. You really cannot... Ooh, my voice cracked. You really cannot beat his first American film, which is The Professional. Leon.
Yes, of course. With, Jean Reno.
Yeah.
I almost forgot his name. Oh, yeah, and that was also Natalie Portman's big breakout movie, too, as an actor. But yeah, again, this is one of the most memorable movies, and I'm like, again, I love this score in particular, especially at the end when they're trying to activate the stones, and you know Bruce Willis, says he loves Mila Jovovich's character, and then she ends up destroying, the ultimate darkness. Oh, again, wonderful scoring.
Yep. It's such a unique film with unique casting that you never expected. Like, they even slip in Tricky, who was just a musician who did electro music, as Gary Oldman's right-hand man. They have Brian James, who plays like the general guy that goes to get Bruce Willis, which he always plays like a really low-level bad guy, but giving him like a noble role. I don't know. There's something like Tron Legacy or Mad Max Fury Road. There are things in this that seem familiar, but on its own, what it's trying to present, you've never seen before. Like, it's just something like a twist on something kind of comfortable with, but like, no, nothing else exactly looks like this. It's very strange.
Exactly, and this wasn't your typical action role for Bruce Willis. You know,
Yeah,
it was something a little more out of his comfort zone.
I'm trying to think. I think he had just come off of Last Man Standing at this point. He's still doing the dour version of himself, though. There's only two versions of Bruce Willis during this time period, and the funny one, the wacky wild one, is kind of in remission. He's not really doing a whole lot, as though I think Hudson Hawk kind of put the foot on that for a while. But he's either doing character actor stuff or leading man stuff. The problem is when he's leading man, a lot of times he's just mumbly and depressing. I don't care for that version. It's kind of like when Nicolas Cage is kind of a I don't want that. Who damn the money?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of a particular. I was thinking of a particular moment. It's very comedic in this movie. It's very subtle kind of comedy with Bruce Willis. Like, his talks with his mom.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
And all that. How he knew that mail was him getting fired. It's like the last two letters were important. First one was my wife saying she was leaving me. Second was from my lawyer saying he was leaving me with my wife. And then, of course, he ended up winning lunch out of it.
Yeah, it's really interesting, this era. 97 is really when we're starting to dive deep into CGI, but there's still a lot of practical stuff going on. Like, Con Air is a good mixture of both, but Face Off and Breakdown are still mostly practical effects. And then you got Fifth Element, which I have no idea what's real. I don't think LA Confidential. Yeah, nowadays a movie like LA Confidential is going to be like a green screen. Everything's going to be digital except for exactly what you're looking at. The characters. Whereas they had to recreate this stuff. There was an LA Confidential pilot a couple years after the movie with Kiefer Sutherland in the Russell Crowe role, but it didn't get picked up.
Oh, dang!
But you can find it. I think it's on the Blu-ray as a special feature.
I'll have to, I'll definitely have to look at it now. Now I'm curious. Well, I might end up watching the movie right after. Damn it, Michael.
All right. Well, that is the end of this episode. I apologize. I'm kind of sick from allergies and my computer's dying, so it's time to wrap it up. Jacob, send us out.
All right, everybody. Namaste. Good luck. Be excellent to each other, and hopefully you don't have terrible allergies. I know it's going to be a super bloom soon, but still, take care of yourselves.
I'd say party on, dudes, but go get your NyQuil, dudes. And we're out.